And good morning and welcome to another edition of Telling It Like It Is. My name is Rlph Williams, and we're here every Saturday morning every Saturday morning. We're here at 10:30 a.m. It's me, Rlph Williams, Leo Haggerty, my co-host, and I'm going to bring him up out of the waiting room now. Leo, welcome to the program.
Welcome to you, Ralph. And by the way, I'm up in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina for the Christmas break. It's about 60 degrees, getting up to 70. So I'm doing it for the front porch of my son and daughter-in-law's house.
Oh, well, that's great. Hey, by the way, I hope you have your wading boots with you because I heard they got a lot of flood water. Some people came back from a cruise, said their cars were flooded when they went to their car.
Yeah, they got a little bit of rain up here. Well, most of the East Coast did. And the
Right.
funny thing is, we didn't get a lot in Tampa. It kind of passed over us, but once it hit Georgia, it went all the way straight up the coast.
Yeah, I got some friends in Raleigh. They said they got hammered a little bit too. So we'll see what happens there. Starting off this morning, Mike Price says good morning to you and me. He's a steady watcher of RW Media and Amped Up Sports Programming. So
Merry Christmas to Mike then.
All right, there you are. And this is brought to you by RW Media Productions in combination with Amped Up Sports. We're in the First Line Consulting Services Studios, 1-877-926-6982. Call them today for your website needs. You need a website built, managed. They're the people to do it. First Line Consulting Services Studios. This segment here is brought to you by Sleep Pittsburgh, 412-462-7858. Call Sleep Pittsburgh today for all the you better hurry. Christmas Eve is tomorrow. Sleep Pittsburgh's open today. You're not going to be able to get anything from them, for any of their holiday discounts or anything. So you better get to Homestead today on 8th Avenue, Sleep Pittsburgh, 412-462-7858. No credit check financing, some of the best and best prices in as far as bedding, children's furniture, anything you need in regards to sleep. Sleep Pittsburgh has it. Get on sleeppittsburgh.com and check out their no credit check financing. Sleep Pittsburgh for the best sleep tonight. All right, Leo, we got some bowl games today. I want to congratulate South Florida for a 45-0 win over Syracuse. We talked about this yesterday on the External Bum podcast, which we were actually able to get through Block Talk Radio without any interruptions because they've been having some technical issues over the last week, and so that's why I've had to put my other show on the social media platforms here instead of having it on Block Talk Radio because of the malfunctions and tech issues. But Scott Morganroth brought up something very interesting yesterday. He said, regardless of what Syracuse has, they have an interim coach right now. Dino Babers was fired before the season ended, and so they came in unprepared. It looked like they just weren't involved in the game at all. This is going to be an interesting scenario with this bowl season, Leo, and I think you'll agree with me. We got a lot of teams that got interim coaches here in these bowl games. Once again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Nothing should any kind of business of transfer portal, of anything, of coaches moving around, nothing should be done until after the bowl season's over. Once that's over, that gives all these teams a fair shot at winning some of these games. And we're right here is a classic example of why I get angry about this situation with these interim coaches on these bowl games, because they should not be permitted to do any kind of business transacting until after the bowl season's over.
You know what, Ralph? Let's look at the one that's really crazy today. Troy and Duke.
Duke, right.
The Duke coach and the Troy coach, they're already gone. They're different places. They got interim coach. Even better, the Duke quarterback's already in the portal. He's at Notre Dame. Ralph, I couldn't agree with you more. They got to shut the portal down. till after the season's over.
Right,
I
exactly.
mean,
Until the
and,
season is satisfied. Yes.
and I'll tell you what, we were sitting with Luke Fickle and Brian Kelly, and they
Uh,
both had to go away from the interview because they had to talk kids out of the portal. It's like you got to be kidding me! How bad this is. But you know what, Ralph? While we're on this subject, I'm going to bring this up, and people are going to be haters on this, but why is Michael Penix even playing in this game? Yeah, I know they're in the Final Four. The kid's had 2 knee surgeries.
wow.
He's going to lose millions if he gets hurt again.
If he does, yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
like I said, they need to come up with some sort of insurance policy so these kids play. But if I'm Michael Penix, I'm his agent and I'm his dad. I'm saying, hey, Michael, I know you want to do the college thing and get the Huskies the national championship, but man, you got to start thinking of your future because if you get hurt, I mean, Jalen Daniels, he's not even playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and
Right.
you can't blame him. If you're a first round pick, unless they're going to insure you for what that rookie contract would be for somewhere in that first round, why play? You've given 4 years to some school, some of them 2 or 3 different ones, but you know what? Look at your future. And again, if I was advising Michael Penix, if I was advising anyone that's a first round draft pick, I don't care if you're Michigan, Washington, Texas, or Alabama, you got to sit down. You got to shut it down because it's risk reward, and the risk far outweighs the reward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't blame some of these players. I was frustrated with Kenny Pickett because he didn't play in Pitt's bowl game, and we had to use our backup, Nick Patty, and then he got hurt on the first play, and then we had to bring in some third string scrub who didn't have any playing time at all, and whatnot. Davis Bevel, who transferred out, and I don't blame him for that because Pitt has a bad habit of stacking up 6, 7 quarterbacks and then not being able to use them all at one point or another. But it's good to have, but it's not good when you stack up that many quarterbacks. But anyway, he sat up in the press box and ate French fries with a headset on, for the bowl game. And I thought, you know what, you are capable of playing, and I know you want to support your team, but why would you even do that? I mean, or even be around it if you knew you weren't even going to be involved in it as far as playing. And now I understand the concept of some of this stuff. And I get some of these guys, they want to go to the NFL, they want to move on with their lives, and they don't want to get hurt. In a way, I don't blame them. But again, we have the NCAA has to start coming up with some kind of rules here. They got to come up with some kind of structure. They have no structure, none. It's just a free for all now. And unless they got to get rid of the guy that's running it or something, I know if my business was a free for all like this, I'd fire everybody. So I mean, so what do you think about that, Leo?
You know what, Ralph? I'm going to take a historical reference to this. I'm going to compare the NCAA to the Ottoman Empire right before World War One. The Ottoman Empire was referred to as the sick man of Europe, and it had to be put out of its misery. Look in the next 2 or 3 years at the most, the Power Four conferences just to break away from the NCAA. They're going away. They're going to figure out that, you know what? All the NCAA is a middleman. We can make rights fees agreements with the networks. We don't need them. So, yeah, it's just crazy that the NCAA is so stupid. And again, that's a sad thing to say, but the fact that when this first came out, all this, when they lost the O'Bannon case, as soon as they lost that, they should have had a bevy of lawyers figuring out, okay, what's the next step? Because players are going to have to make money now. They're going to be able to do it because we opened the door. Pandora and the genie, they're out of the box. It's just terrible. So, yeah, look what's happening to the NCAA. It's got to change. The NCAA either has to change, and I'll tell you what, Ralph, let's look at what the playoff season looks like next year. 3 games this year, they're looking like they're making just a bit in excess of $500 million. Yeah, folks, that's $1 billion. Next year, they're going to have 11 games. They're going to make probably in excess of $2 billion. This is close to Final Four March Madness money. That's how crazy this is. And it's going to be more than March Madness money because it's going to be $2 billion a year and climbing every year. So, yeah, that needs to happen.
I'm sorry, Leo. I had to take my face off the screen here. My sinuses are draining out, and I don't want people to see it. So sorry about that.
No problem.
But
We're
anyway,
still on, Ralph. I figured you had
yeah,
something going on. But
yeah.
yeah, hey,
So
Ralph,
anyway,
while we're on that subject, let's take a look at Florida State. Florida State's Board of Trustees voted to get out of the ACC. Well, you know what? Here's two things they better consider first. Number one, who wants them? Florida State hasn't been relevant in football in 9 years. Yeah, folks, listen to that. 9 years since their last championship. Clemson has owned them for the past 8 years. They finally beat Clemson after 8 years. In fact, one year they didn't play because of COVID, which is crazy. But Florida State, you, you can't move. Here's why. There's no place to go, and you need a partner. Nobody's going to leave the ACC with you. So you know what? Stop thinking that if you were in another conference, you'd have been playing in the Final Four. Because guess what? If you go to the SEC, you're going to be the fifth or sixth best team right now. You'll be behind Alabama, behind Georgia, probably behind Missouri, probably behind uh, Texas, probably behind Oklahoma. So yeah, you're the fifth or sixth best team. So stop thinking that the grass is greener on the other side of the pasture because it's not. Stay there. Let it ring out. It's not like you're not making money. There's going to be $30 to $40 million a year coming out. And guess what? You're not the league dog in that sled show. You
no,
got to
not
get
at
ahead of
all.
Clemson. Yeah, one year doesn't make it. So the sitting there and thinking, well, oh, we're a brand. Everybody wants. Man, I don't know if they want you now because you haven't been
Yeah.
relevant in 9 years.
The Armed Forces Bowl has an interim coach. James Madison, Kurt Signetti left for Indiana. That's today at. I always like that bowl. 3:30 p.m. today. Also, you have the Camellia Bowl at noon on ESPN. Northern Illinois. They always have a good team. Arkansas State, and then you have the Idaho Potato Bowl. I like Idaho Potato. There you go. Georgia State versus Utah State. Jordan Love's former school, and that's at 3:30 today. And then you got the 68 Ventures Bowl, Eastern Michigan versus South Alabama. That's at 7 tonight. And then at 7:30 tonight, you got the Vegas Bowl in Vegas, Northwestern with the interim coach versus Utah. Utah kind of slid this year, Leo. They kind of slid. They were up there for a little bit and then kind of went down.
Well, you know what? You had to play USC. You had to play UCLA. You had to play
Mm,
Oregon. You had to play Oregon State. Colorado. I mean, it was a meat grinder they had.
yeah.
Plus, Utah never got their quarterback healthy enough to play, so they sat him for the entire year. But you know what, Ralph? That's my Leo's losers this week. Let me give you that while I'm up because
Sure.
right
Go
now
ahead.
I'm 32-19 and I'm up almost $2,800. So if you listen to me, folks, you'd be making money. You'd have that Christmas gift all set up. Let's take a look at where I'm at, Ralph. You know what? My top pick is Northwestern to lose to Utah. And again,
Oh, okay.
I think Utah's going to come out. Northwestern, God love those kids. They played hard. They got to 6-6 and got to a bowl game. I think the upset is Troy losing to Duke. I think Duke still, even though without Leonard at quarterback, they got some athletes out there. That's a good
Yeah.
football team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this
They
is
are a
the
good football team. Yeah.
and this is the one that pains me. Air Force to lose to James Madison. How can you pick against a military school in the armed forces, Bill Ralph? That's like a sacrilege. But I'll
Well,
tell you what, James Madison is really, really good.
yeah,
Really
they
good.
are good. Yeah, Kurt Signetti did a really good job, and he brought some former Pitt players with him too, and he's taken them to Indiana with him. Tito Sinceri used to be a Pitt quarterback, part of the Sinceri family through the Pitt, through the Pitt tree, and now he's in Indiana now. So he built up a really good program there at James Madison,
Yeah,
and now we're going to see where they go today.
yeah, and you know what, Ralph? Let's segue to the NFL because you asked me about the Pitt guy at Tampa Bay. I'll tell you what. He
Yeah,
has come.
Clancy and Savassier Dennis.
Yeah, Clancy has really come on the last 3 weeks. In fact, I think he was the rookie of the week. 1 week, yeah, he's
Right.
really come on for Tampa Bay. So yeah, and Ralph, before we get in there, let's take a look at the playoff scenario. Okay,
Yeah, let's do
let's look.
that.
Let's look at the AFC. The AFC, I call that a race to 10, and here's why. First team to 10, I think, is going to get in. I think you're going to have at least 10 wins to get in. Well, let's look at where we're at. Cleveland and Kansas City, they both have 9 wins. There is a plethora, there's my SAT word of the day, a plethora of 8-win teams. Cincinnati,
Right.
Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Houston, Buffalo. All of a sudden, that AFC South is up for grabs. And you still have Pittsburgh and Denver at 7. If they run the table, they get to 10. So, you know what? It's going to be a horse race in the AFC. Now, let's go to the NFC because that's a little bit different. I think all you got to do is get to 9 wins, right? The Rams already got
Yes.
to 8. But at 7-7, you got Tampa Bay, you've got Minnesota, you've got Seattle,
Right.
you also have New Orleans. Now, at
Yes.
6 wins, you've got Atlanta and Green Bay. You still got 3 teams in the NFC South who have legitimate shots at winning that division. Now, here's the problem that whoever wins the NFC South, you're going to either get Dallas or you're going to get Philadelphia coming to your place. I'll tell you what, both of those, that's not what I like. I would rather see Philadelphia right now than Dallas because Dallas is healthy. Philadelphia needs to get healthy, but that's my playoff scenario, Ralph. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. And I think that speaking of Atlanta, I think Arthur Smith kind of saved his job this year, but we're going to see where these last 3 games go. He may have saved his job if he wins at least one, maybe 2 more games. I think
You,
Arthur Smith saves his job down in Atlanta.
you know what, Ralph? I'm gonna take that a step further. I think of the 3 coaches that you have at New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. The one that wins saves his job, that wins the division, and the other 2 get fired. And here's why. Ralph, I don't think your listeners know, and I'm going to educate them right now. When
Okay.
you get a home playoff game, you do not share revenue with anybody. So if you win a division, cha-ching, cha-ching, the owner loves you. That's why everybody said, why is Andy Reid still around? He wasn't winning Super Bowls at Philadelphia, but you know what? He was getting 1 or 2 home games. And
Yes.
Eagles ownership was getting a lot of money out of it. Probably why Mike Tomlin's still in Pittsburgh. He gets
Yeah,
home
well,
games.
that's part of the problem. We haven't had a home playoff game in probably 7 or 8 years. It's been a long time, and we haven't been relevant in the playoffs for a while. And all the national people out here, Leo keeps saying about how great Mike Tomlin is. He's had a winning season. He's 9-8. He's this, that, and whatever. But let me ask you this, Leo, and I asked this a lot. I asked it to Peter. I've asked it to many people. Do you accept mediocrity in your life?
You know what, Ralph? And here's what I'm going to say with that. If that's the best you got, yeah, you got to accept it. But once you accept mediocrity, that means you're not accepting anything better than that. And
There
that's
you go.
tough.
There you
That's
go.
tough.
Point said. Point said right there, Leo, because I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are nothing but a mediocre football team. They have been for a while. That's why I call Mike Tomlin mediocre Mike. And now I have all the national people repeating everything that I've said, like mediocre Mike. They're now starting to turn on him, especially all the ones that loved them. You know,
Yeah. It's a crazy situation with the NFL. You know why they call it the NFL, Ralph? Not for long.
not for
Because
long. Yeah.
hey, come Black Monday, there's going to be at least 4 more coaches. Okay, Ron Rivera's gone, and Frank Reich is gone already. But you're going to see at
Yeah.
least 4 and maybe more coaches gone on Black Monday, because if you don't get in the playoffs, your job security is pretty much nil. You better hope that you're in a rebuilding stage, like in Indianapolis. Indianapolis, that coach is going to stay. Houston, that coach is going to stay, even if they don't make the playoffs, because
Oh yeah. Yeah.
they were expected 3, 4 wins. Now they're
Yeah.
in the hunt.
Chicago's going to pull the plug on Matt Everfart.
Yeah, I don't see him surviving
Matt
either.
Eberfart. Yeah.
Especially, yeah, that was a good one, Ralph. I like
I call
that.
him Everforth. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, especially if Harbaugh is available, and I think if Michigan wins, then I think Harbaugh becomes available.
You think so? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
mission
got the
accomplished
GM
for him in
at the
Michigan.
radio station where I put my show on, my radio show, Sports Corner. He's a big time Michigan fan. He thinks Harbaugh's staying. He don't think he's going anywhere.
Not if he wins the championship. If he wins the NCAA championship, it's mission accomplished. He is right now said, okay, I did that. Plus, if I'm Harbaugh, I'm going to Michigan. You know what? You better tear that contract up because if you don't give me stupid money, I'm going to the NFL. So he'll have all the leverage on that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know if Dennis Allen would get fired. I'm not sure. New Orleans is still kind of hanging in there. If Derek Carr didn't get hurt, I think they would have been all right. You know what I mean?
Well,
Down
yeah,
there.
there's not a whole lot of there's a whole lot of New Orleans media down there thinking that this team is poorly coached, and that's never good for you. And again, Dennis Allen's a defensive guy, and he just gave up 30 points to the Rams. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not good. And I'll tell you what, Ralph, Alvin Kamara, he's on a milk carton down there. He has flat out disappeared off the New Orleans offense. And you know what? I got a high school friend of mine, Karen. Hi, Karen. I'll wave to you. Her daughter and family, they're big Saints fans. Well, guess what?
Right.
You got to get Alvin Kamara involved to get the Saints offense moving. He's got to get, he's got to get 15 to 25 touches a game. Now he's getting 8 to 10. That's not a winning formula in New Orleans, so that's got to happen.
Oh
Atlanta,
yeah.
same thing. And Todd Bowles, if the Bucks go south, I don't think he's got a job because
No, no. I say he was walking on eggshells beginning of the season. Hey, by the way, while we're on Tampa again, how's Sylvassier Dennis doing? Is he playing like special teams or
oh yeah,
filling in every now and again? How's he doing?
yeah, he's a little bit banged up too, Ralph. But yeah,
Yeah.
uh, the problem with Tampa Bay is their linebacking core has been shredded in terms of bodies. In
Yeah,
fact,
like the Steelers.
they had to put a safety in there the other day. So yeah,
Oh
it's
wow.
crazy. And by the way, the noise in the background is that my son and grandchildren are deciding to have their annual tennis ball game out front with the wiffle ball bat. So that's what the screams are.
Ah, I got you. That's no problem.
Yeah.
That's no
Hey,
problem.
how about hey Ralph?
How'd
How
you like
about
to hear
McCutcheon?
motorcycles going by here?
Yeah, how about McCutcheon coming back to the Pirates for another year? I think that's a huge catch for their Pittsburgh.
Oh, it is. It is because not only is he a fan favorite, he is a good inspiration in the locker room. I mean, if you're in the dugout and everything, if you ever see him, whenever a player comes off the field that screws up in the outfield or in the infield or something, he pulls them to the side and he talks to them. Okay, he doesn't berate them, scream at them. He pulls them to the side and says, "Look, you made a mistake." Or if someone struck out and they come in and they throw the helmet, he grabs them and he says, "Look, you got to do this, this, and this." He was a very good He's been a very good inspiration to the Pirates, and he's a fan favorite. They'll put butts in the seats this year with him because
Oh,
everybody in this
absolutely.
town loves him. You know,
Yeah, how's my favorite guy from Tampa doing up there, Keyman Joy? How's he doing?
he's not with us anymore. We traded him to San Diego last year at
Oh
the
my
end of the year,
God.
the trade deadline, and he didn't do anything down there. He got hurt up here. Then he went down there and he got hurt again. We traded him and Rich Hill for a bunch of minor league players down in San Diego.
Yeah, Rich Hill, two former Tampa Bay Rays. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
uh, I'll tell you what, I got to. We're supposed to have Rick Moore. And by the way, how did Troy Odegaard do on your show the other night?
He did very well. Very nice. Very incisive. Very, right to the point. He did a very good job. 2 weeks ago I had him on. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a former college quarterback, and he ran the option, so he knows what it's like to get hit in the mouth.
Yeah, he did a really good job. All the guys from Amped Up Sports do well. Next, this Tuesday, I have a guy coming on from Seattle, and the reason I'm having him on is because he's a former sports talk show host here in Pittsburgh. His name's
Nice.
Vinny Riccici, and
Yeah,
Vinny's coming on. He's going to talk about Seattle
Who do the Steelers have left? They got Seattle, and then what other two?
and Baltimore.
Oh, if you want my Orioles guy, or not my Orioles guy, if you want my Ravens guy, let me know.
Yeah, I
Mike,
know. I got Mike's number. In fact, I got him coming on January 9th after the game
yeah,
because
Mike,
January 2nd, I got my year in sports review show. So, you know,
nice,
yeah.
nice. All right,
And I go
but
2 hours starting January 2nd, 4 to 6.
yeah, hey, Ralph, how are the Penguins doing?
Uh, they just won a couple games. They're not doing too bad. They made a goalie change and they've done some tinkering with the lines a little bit here. They got sent some players down to minors, brought some players up, cut a couple people. They did some reshuffling over the last couple of weeks. So they won their last couple games. So we'll see what they do moving forward. But I expected, see, the Penguins and the Steelers, everybody expected better because on paper, at the beginning of the season, everything looked like it was going to be great for both teams. And then look what happened to the Steelers, and now the Penguins are doing the same thing. They're not winning like we thought they would with what they have, with
You
how
know what?
Kyle Dubas, you know.
Yeah, and you know what, Ralph? The worst thing that can happen to you as a coach in a franchise is to have unsuspected beliefs that they'll be good. That's the problem. You know, if you look around that division, I mean, you know, you got the Rangers, you got the Islanders. You see, even Philadelphia's starting to play well. So you know what?
Yes,
That's a tough division. So you
yes,
know,
it is.
you got to watch what's happening there. And you know what? If expectations exceeds output, man, that's a problem. That's got a lot of coaches fired, hasn't it, Ralph?
Yes, it has. And but see, here's another thing too that I didn't think of. The Penguins are trying to do like the Steelers. Remember, the Steelers kept Ben maybe 2 years too long.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. To try to get him another Super Bowl. Well, they're doing that with Crosby and Malkin and Letang. They're keeping them 2 years too long to try to get them another Stanley Cup. And that's their point. But by doing that, they're hurting the way the wins and the losses because now these guys, I mean, Crosby's been doing all right. Malkin's a ghost. He hasn't done anything. And Letang, if he's hurt every year, and they just signed him to another contract. So I don't know, you know, and they got guys like Jeff Carter, and I mean, you know, they just have some guys that, you know, I know they want to try to get him a Stanley Cup, but if it's affecting the play of the team and everything else because they're either not around. Eric Carlson has even laid an egg. I mean,
well,
you know, we all thought he was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that hasn't happened.
you know what, Ralph, and people don't realize this. Of all the major sports, the one where seeding doesn't matter is the NHL. Just
Yeah,
get in the playoffs because you got to win 16 games. Think about that. You got to win 16 games
right.
to hoist that Stanley Cup. And Ralph, make money at the bar every time for this. How many? No. How many times have the Pittsburgh Penguins hoisted the Stanley Cup at home?
None. None.
Zero.
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 That's
You're
yeah, zero.
exactly right.
Yes.
In
Zero.
fact, I can remember the last time they won it, and that was the back-to-back years. The last
Yeah.
time they won it, they actually opened up the arena, the igloo, to hoist that cup so people could come in and see it. That's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that one time they did that. Yeah, they had to do that. And then it got so bad when they had the celebration, they had to have it at Three River Stadium when the old Three River Stadium was up, and it sold out. I mean, you know that place seated about 60,000 people. It
Yeah,
sold out for the
yeah,
celebration when we won the first or the second Stanley Cup.
nice.
Sophie
Hey, Ralph,
Masloff was our mayor at the time.
Ralph, I gotta interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
Pay some bills and talk about the sponsors, and I'll hang on for a few minutes.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. Let me talk to you today about Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today. Look, it's wintertime. Furnaces need fixed. You need a heat pump. Do you need snow melt? Do you need UV lighting? It gets dark early. Or around your house. Do you want to keep suspected people away from your house that you don't want around? UV lighting helps that. Call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning today, 724-201-0500. Mata, you got to call Mata. Ask for Bill. Tell him you heard it here on Telling It Like It Is and RW Media Productions. Fold and Travel Mobility. Are you handicapped, disabled, use a wheelchair? Have you felt down because you need a power chair that folds and you can't go to certain events and your life is being affected. Well, I have the solution to your problem. Fold and Travel Mobility. Give them a call today. I'm handicapped. I'm in a wheelchair. I know what it's like, and I have a folding power wheelchair from Fold and Travel Mobility, and it's the best thing that's made my life even better. Why? Because I can go to the amusement park and not have to pay $40 for a wheelchair when I can use my own power chair and go through the park with it. I can fold it up. I can go to a concert at our outdoor amphitheater. It's 2 miles from the parking lot to get to your seat. Instead of having to wheel my way, I can power my way there. 1877 GOTFOLD, foldandtravelmobility.com. Look, they have some great holiday specials, 50% off. Check them out. Foldandtravelmobility.com or 1877 GOTFOLD, Fold and Travel Mobility. Hey, look, do you need a gift for somebody at the last minute? I got one for you. P6 Auto Detailing. Get them a gift certificate today. Call 412-965-6578. P6 Auto Detailing. The best, the professionals at detailing your car, and then they will not only detail it right, but also the price is right. 412-965-6578. P6 Auto Detailing. All right. Do you need sponsorship advertising? The new year's coming up, and I know your business is starting to get recycled for the new year. Well, how about recycling it, and how about working on getting some business for yourself, getting some better business? Call 412-545-4317 for affordable sponsorship advertising right here on all RW Media shows and or Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. Bon Jovi Journey trivia band or excuse me, cover band. They play Bon Jovi and Journey songs. December 31st, New Year's Eve, they'll be at the Winooski Winery in Bell Vernon. Check them out for their New Year's Eve party. Last night they were at the Jurgles with Rhythm and Brew. Couldn't get in the door. That's how much the crowd was. Couldn't get in the door. So there you are with Bon Journey. So head on out, see their show at the Winooski Winery next Sunday, New Year's Eve, in Bell Vernon. Let me talk to you today about Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. Hillcrest Farm, 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. Hillcrest Farms at Ohio at gmail.com is their email address. And check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, because you know why? They ship. Get on their website and have them ship some hay grain beef to your house. And let me give you this package deal. Nobody beats this, Leo. Nobody. $95 for 20 pounds of hay grain ground beef. You can't beat that price. $95, 20 pounds of ground beef. Nobody has it. Check it out. Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. 45 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh, right up the hill from Steubenville, Ohio. Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. Okay, I wrapped it all up there, Leo. How's that?
You did, Ralph, and I'll tell you what, I got to get going because I just got drafted as the permanent center fielder in this tennis ball
In the
baseball
wiffle
game.
ball
So
game. Hey, you
I
know
need to
what?
go.
I wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. I will see you. Are we going to do it next Saturday as well, or
Ralph, there's so much going on in sports. We got to do it. If you want to
we
get
got to
up,
do
I'll
it?
get up.
Exactly,
All right.
exactly. We got to do
Hey,
it. So we'll be back
Merry
next Saturday.
Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Happy belated Hanukkah to all the
Thank you.
listeners and everybody. And we
That's
will
it.
talk to you. Well, looks like the day before New Year's Eve, right?
Yes, the day before New Year's Eve, we have a lot to talk about. NFL, some more of the college bowl games that are still going to be going on. Bowl week, we're going to go bowling. There you go. So,
Absolutely. Hey,
all right,
Ralph, Merry
have a great
Christmas
one,
to
Leo. Same to
Merry
you.
Christmas to you and your family, and thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me on. Appreciate it.
Likewise to you and your family there in Charleston, and likewise to you as well. Thank you.
Bye. Take care,
Bye
buddy.
bye. All right, that was Leo Haggerty, co-host here with me on Telling It Like It Is. We'll be back next Saturday, 10:30 a.m. For Leo Haggerty. Until next time, have a great one.